cybersecurity. Miss Amanda went to ShmooCon 2017 this year, and she took along her Tascam and got some audio for us. So what you're going to hear first is a bunch of gentlemen from HITB and some other conference attendees at Shmoo talking about their experiences at Shmoo, and then you're going to hear Melanie Rich-Wittrick talk about some initiatives that she's doing to help kids get into the information security industry, soon as they want to. That she's trying to create some educational tools and learning for kids in middle school, all the way down to middle school. So, without further ado, here's Miss Amanda at ShmooCon.
Hello, everybody. This is Amanda Berlin from Breaking Down Security Podcast, and I am here live at ShmooCon talking with some attendees. So we're going to go around the room and introduce everybody and go from there. So,
hey, I'm John Ferris with HackEd. We are a 7-week cybersecurity hands-on keyboard training program here in DC. The program is free if you can get in. There's no tuition. And then employers come to recruit and hopefully hire from the program.
Hi, my name is Aaron Lint. I'm the VP of Research at Arxan Technologies. I'm here at ShmooCon just figuring out what the latest trends are in IoT and other related security issues.
Hi, I'm James Green, GreenJam94 on Twitter. I work with Vertifor doing software engineering or application security. I'm here at ShmooCon to learn whatever I can.
all right, awesome. So, I know Aaron's been to ShmooCon before, but John and James, is your first time?
Yeah.
What do you think so far?
It's amazing to come and check out what's happening. I got to go to DEF CON this year. This feels like definitely an extension of that. Just as far out, I think, as what I saw in Vegas. How about you?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of great talks so far. Really enjoyed the power talks Friday night. Just it's kind of like the lightning talks at my site that I've been to, where it's just everyone's kind of first chance to talk on something and get out there. So it was really cool to see those talks. And then I'm a fan of the other events that they have going on, so like the Locker Villager tool and stuff, and checking out the wireless CTF, seeing how they deal with it, giving me ideas for stuff to do in the future. So it's fun.
It's awesome. This is my third, and I really like it. This is one of my top 3 conferences. I absolutely love it. They do a really good job organizing and getting everybody together. So tell me more about HackEd. You said it's just like a training program for people getting into the industry?
Yeah, we went into this looking to solve a problem for employers who are having a hard time finding talent. But we discovered we're solving a second problem, and that's for students and people who want to change their careers. It's not necessarily intuitive, how to get into the industry. You can sort of hack around and be self-taught, and so many people are that way. You can get a master's degree, but it's usually in policy. You can be online, distance-based. You can take a SANS course, which is really strong, but maybe very expensive if you're on your own. So we're getting emails from people around the country saying, "We're so glad you're here. It's an alternative to what's out there." So it's been really neat getting to connect with the people that are looking to get into the industry.
Yeah, I find there's not a lot of entry-level stuff for people to learn, I think, unless they are really out there looking for it. There's not really any, I don't think anyways, any companies that'll just do basic red blue team type stuff.
Well, it can be so intimidating because, even with formal training, there are so many employers right now that, and admittedly myself included, where, you sort of issue the formal training for, and prefer people to have actual experience, right? And so these opportunities that you can actually put your hands on tech and, in a setting that's not like, holy crap, I'm going to get fired if I screw this up. Exactly. Or if I don't break this server, if I don't figure it out, the more opportunities that we can give people to just put their hands on real, actual, relevant things in a safe setting is going to be to everyone's benefit.
Yeah, definitely.
In my experience, the best way I've learned stuff recently on my own is by doing the challenges and the CTFs at conferences. So hearing about other programs that aren't a couple $1,000s to attend makes it a great benefit for people like me.
What kind of stuff do you guys cover?
So it's half on defense, half on offense. Capture the flag at the end. All the major topics you can. Everything from infrastructure straight through to wireless. We do a lot of work on pen testing. I'm obviously not the tech guy behind all this. We have several curriculum builders. Foremost, Peter Kim, who wrote the Hacker Playbook, has been very involved, and he created the red team side. He runs the red team at Blizzard, so he's been really involved. To your point about taking tests, we are coming out with this puzzle. It's coming out probably this week, so you can check it out online if you want to try and hack your way through his maze that he's created for you. It should be pretty interesting, and there's a prize at the end.
Yeah, that's always fun. It's nice to have like the little side projects and stuff like that people can do to just tinker around and learn some more. I think that's the reason why a lot of people like the conferences, because like low stress, just you can ask anybody anything and they don't care.
Well, there's also a correlation with people that attend hacker conferences and their desire to achieve, make achievements or achievement unlock sort of a thing. A finite set of goals where, you get a trophy case. And so, I definitely share your experience. And as much as you can set those sorts of finite goals up, you will engage the people that tend towards this sort of a field.
Yeah, the stuff downstairs that's going on is unbelievable. And we also discovered that, because it's free, we've gotten lots of applicants. So we had 700 applicants for just 13 spots. So people that are coming in are pretty sharp. But then how can we support the community, folks that didn't get in, or folks that can't quit their jobs to come and do this full time? So the puzzles are one way. Also looking to put out like a monthly webcast where you can stream and just, hey, I'm Peter Kim, here's Wireshark today, or just kind of walk you through some stuff. Night courses, free resources for people. So hopefully we can stay connected to them and encourage people to reapply, of course.
Are the courses just held in DC then, or are they any remote stuff?
Nothing remote right now. Everything's in DC. You do have to kind of quit your job to come do this, or maybe you're leaving college or something or grad school and you have some time in between time.
Yeah.
So that's where we are now, and then eventually maybe open other campuses or do some remote stuff.
Well, anybody else have anything they've seen at the conference or want to bring up?
No, I think it's absolutely great that we're getting more and more of a presence with the education. My background is in academia as well. How do you guys kind of balance this against what people are coming out of college with? Where does that rank? Because that's what people would ask, right? Well, either I go for a 4-year degree or a 2-year degree or whatever versus coming to Hack Ed. How do you guys message that?
Yeah, we try not to. We're never going to compete with the college. We're not going to put 4 years in. That's not what we do. We would never purport to put together to train someone to be an expert in 7 weeks. There's no way. We're a complement to what's happening in college or in grad school. Sure, you can come and not have a degree and apply and get in. We have some people that don't have degrees. I got on first time around, but we're not trying to compete to replace what that's all about. We actually get a lot of our applicants from college campuses, so we will let the career centers know that we're here, or let professors know, computer science professors or STEM fields, and they circulate it because they want to make sure their students get jobs when they're done. So this is just another avenue for them to get into the industry.
Great. Do you have any industry partners?
Yeah, we have about 100 companies that want to see profiles from the first class, which first class starts on Tuesday, so we're really excited. But we're also new, we're unproven. I think in this industry in particular, it can be hard to get in. We're untested. Who is Hack Ed? What's that all about? It might take a little while, but I think once we get in and people realize it is a good place to come and find talent, that they'll talk and they'll tell people, hiring managers, and word will spread. But it's very important right now to find employers that will hire from the program.
Great.
I think it's hard to find good talent.
Yeah, as I was saying, I think you might have 101 companies that are interested now that I'm sitting here.
We've had previous companies I worked for, or whatever, they've used like talent scouts or whatever, trying to go out and find people, and local talent that show up. They'll be like, oh yeah, I game a little bit. Oh, all right, that's great, but they have no real life hands-on stuff that they can point to. Nobody's going to give them anything real life to do because they it's the whole.
It's
Do
the
you have
chicken
experience to get?
It's the chicken and the egg problem.
Right,
That's absolutely right.
I think that would be a good way to bridge the gap.
Excellent.
Some hands-on stuff.
Could I ask? You said other conferences that you like?
Yeah.
A couple of others that stood out to you.
So I'm based in Northern Ohio,
Uh-huh.
and I like ones that I don't necessarily have to fly to, just because it's cheaper. Some of the top ones, I think, DerbyCon is in September in Louisville, Kentucky, and that's my favorite by far. Amazing people run it, and just a real family atmosphere. Good venue. So about 2,000 people ish that go. That was my first conference though too. So when I first started getting into InfoSec, that was my first one. So it's a special place in my heart. There's GurCon. It's in Grand Rapids, Michigan. That's pretty good. DEF CON, B-Sides Las Vegas. I always go to those. This one, there's a lot of B-Sides. Have you ever heard of B-Sides?
I got to go to the one in Atlanta recently.
Okay,
Great.
Awesome. So I'll go to random B-Sides too. But yeah. How about you guys? What do you think some of your favorites are?
Well, besides some of the ones that you mentioned, I'm a big fan of Converge Detroit. It's right close by me. I think that one's a weekend in May on the 11th. I think is when it starts. So if you want to check that out, it was fun. Last year they had a new version of a CTF that was kind of based on that Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
So it was a format that I've
CTF's
never
really fun.
seen before, and I believe that's come back as well. So I've had a lot of fun playing that. And it's just a really good conference. I think it's nice that it's really close to me, so I don't have to worry about traveling to it. So.
Well, there are plane tickets to get here were only $100, so you can't complain too much.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with your list. The only one I would add is Skydog Con in Nashville is an excellent smaller conference, and I actually, as a contrast to DEF CON and all of the larger ones, Skydog Con is a lot more intimate, where you actually can engage with people and actually form personal relationships, which, for not to say that there's a stereotype in our industry, but there are a lot of people who have some social anxiety issues, myself included.
And me.
And pretty much,
Everybody.
Raise your hand and we can go from there. But the smaller conferences are an excellent inroad into sort of building up the knowledge of how to, engage and learn how to take in talks, learn how to engage in CTFs, and get more comfortable before you kind of go to the granddaddy of them all in Vegas.
It's very
with 20,000 of your best friends. So look for the local small conferences is always my
and local meetups too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's so many metro areas have really good, whether that be through just the B-Sides organizations. Some of them are through like an ISSA or the other professional organizations for InfoSec. But some of them are just sort of ad hoc. Like I'm thinking like BurbSec in Chicago.
Right.
All of those are great to look at, and basically, this is one of those just Google it situations, because most of them have Twitter profiles. Most of them have social media presence, so you can find something local to you fairly easily.
Yeah, like a meetup.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. All good? You want to go around and say how people can contact you? Sure. I know some of you already did, but you do it again. I'm at Infosystir, INFOSYSTIR, on all things. Twitter, IRC, Slack. Friendster. No, not Friendster. I've never been on Friendster. So go ahead.
I'm at Lintile, LINTILE, on Twitter, Facebook, and all the things, but I still am on Friends.
Are you? All right.
Yeah.
I'll have to create an account. We can be friends.
That'll be one. That'll be one for me.
Cool. And I'm James Green. Again, on Twitter, I'm GreenJam, JAM94.
For some reason, he had to get up InfoSec Captain America. I don't know why that didn't stick.
John Ferris, John, JON.Ferris, FERRIS, at hackeducate.com. Hackeducate.com or at hackeducate on Twitter.
Oh, yeah. Hello, this is Amanda Berlin from Breaking Down Security. I am here at ShmooCon. 2017 with Melanie.
Rich Wittrig.
What is that again?
Rich Wittrig.
Okay, awesome. You were telling me earlier about a new, like kids in STEM thing that you're doing, right?
Sure. Yeah, there are a few different things I'm doing. I'm a graduate student at Carnegie Mellon, and for my graduate project, I'm working on a activity demo and presentation for elementary middle school kids. And the goal is to get them interested enough in cybersecurity careers to start like looking for things to do and stuff like that. So I want to teach them about hacker mentality in the terms of break, secure, repeat, which is to say how you can make things better by figuring out how someone might break them.
Okay. Like what are some of the like tasks or projects or something that they would do?
So I am going to have them, when I first get there, fill out a small form. The first question is write down the first 3 things you think of when you hear the word hacker.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to establish
That's
a baseline.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah. And then the second question is, you have a friend whose birthday is coming up, and they're really good at finding presents, but you want to hide this present from them so that it's a surprise.
Okay.
You have a closet that you can put it in. What would you do to make that closet harder to get into for your friend?
Okay, all right.
And so after we do that, I'm going to do a brief presentation. I've been talking to people about, people more diverse groups of people who are doing a more diverse group of jobs in the cybersecurity industry.
Okay.
And so I want to show them some examples, because it's not just, white guys programming all day in the industry anymore. 400-pound hackers. It's not just that,
Right.
So, and then after that, I'll do a demo where it's like I have some different boxes, and so we're talking about building a better box. So I start with like a little paper cardboard box or something, and like I put like a sticker in there and ask, how would you get into that? And so they could just tell me, open it.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah. Totally could. Get a sticker. So that's like, well, what would we do to make it better? Well, you could tape it shut. But keep in mind, what if tape costs like 5 cents and you only have like a penny in there? You might not want to use tape.
Okay.
So we'll talk about like taping that, how after you tape the lid, you could also then go in through the bottom. And
break the tape.
Right, exactly. And then move on to a wooden box where you can like unscrew the hinges and stuff like that. Move on to a combination box, because then we can also talk a little bit about pin number guessing.
Right.
And so by the end of it, we've got like a reasonably secure box. And so then do like a little group activity where they can draw as a group what they think is their ideal box or whatever.
All right.
And so the final thing, and this is part of what I'm using to gauge my effectiveness, is I will then give them another worksheet, and this time it's write down the first 3 words we think of cybersecurity professional. And so I'm hoping that, we're getting more like positive words that kind of correspond with them, so that they're potentially identifying with it. And then the second question is just like, now what would you do to make your closet even better to like prevent your friend?
After they've gone through all those exercises.
Right.
And
so
thought around it.
Yeah. So figuring out how they've been able to like, what they've been able to learn, basically, and apply.
So is all of that in the span of like a day, or like
yes.
like a workshop day type thing?
Yeah, I'm trying to keep things like fairly quick each part, because kids don't have that much of an attention span. I don't have that much of an attention span. So it's kind of in the context of like right now my first school that I'll be visiting, it's part of a career day. So I will have like an hour and 15 minutes as a slot or whatever. And so
I think that's a good time.
Yeah, I think
slot,
so. Yeah. And it's broken up into a lot of different parts, so hopefully not one part is too long.
Right. And I like that kind of stuff too. It's I don't think a whole lot of schools get the whole out of the box thinking.
Right.
They're doing worksheets out of textbooks and not real life skills that they would probably be using.
Yeah, and it's another thing where I found that this type of critical thinking is sometimes discouraged among kids because it's viewed as like defiance.
Yeah.
However, I feel like that type of thinking is critical in order to do things like cybersecurity, because how are you going to try to figure out how to fix something unless you understand how it works, and how are you going to figure that out unless you like poke at it? So I'm being very careful to present this as we're doing this to build a better box. We're not just talking about like, oh yeah, we're going to break stuff. It's we're breaking it to figure out how to make it better. Give that like positive channel. And so then the other thing that I'm very involved with is CTF, the Capture the Flag competitions.
For kids too?
For high schoolers is kind of what I'm working on right now. Last semester I did an independent study with David Brumley, who's the faculty advisor of PPP. And I came up with a 2-hour-ish CTF aimed at people who only know how to use a browser, essentially. So we talked about it being aimed for 10th graders. As far as I'm concerned, though, if you don't know much about security, you might as well be a 10th grader. It doesn't matter how old you are. So that's kind of the goal that I had. So I came up with some challenges that are designed to get you to like go out on the internet and figure out the answer. So there's one where I very clearly indicate that it's a SQL injection. And so if you start Googling and you go to the Wikipedia page, like the first example of a SQL injection works. It's just a matter of like, you're like, oh, that's
using
out there.
that critical thinking also.
Right.
It's just to actually Google something.
Yeah, and also just,
Could you tell the rest of our industry how to do that?
Yeah, just working on that. Yeah, I mean, it's a tricky situation because I don't feel like it's possible to really teach someone cybersecurity. You can provide them with materials for them to find, but they have to be motivated to look for it. Otherwise, it's not really the same thing. So that's kind of the thing that I'm focusing on when it comes to entry-level CTF, trying to get them interested enough, get them used to like, hey, I can get points for this and stuff like that, and then hopefully they go out. And I have so my website's securitycandy.com, and I have a resources page that has a lot of like war games and stuff like that listed, just as like a sort of if you're trying to get into CTFs, check out these.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, I was. We were talking about mentoring the last podcast that we did, and that's a really good resource for up and coming people right new in the industry and everything. So
yeah, and it's one of those things where it's something that I like to have on hand. So it's like, well, if I like it, other people might find it useful.
I feel like there's a lot of super advanced stuff. Once you look, once you express an interest to be becoming a hacker, getting into the security industry, there's a lot of like DEF CON talks, or all the talks here are all like super. Great material, but super technical, and I think there's a gap there. In the beginning level.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's also becoming more and more noticeable in CTFs, just because it's like getting harder and harder because the industry is moving forward, and that's super cool that like we're doing all of these cutting edge things. However, trying to get people started on the same CTFs that I got started on like 5 years ago or whatever, it's a very different type of entrance, I guess. So yeah, I feel like it's really important to figure out how to like bridge that gap in order to get people able to do current CTFs.
Yeah, I think a lot of people look at a CTF and are really intimidated.
It's extremely intimidating. It was certainly very intimidating for me, and that's part of why I care so much about it. So I got started with this like when I was an undergrad at University of Texas at Dallas, working on my computer science bachelor's, and I found out about Computer Security Group, and they did hacking competitions, and I was like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. So then I went to a meeting, and I was late because they had an old website up with the wrong room or whatever, and so it's this dark room full of dudes looking at a projector screen, and I open the door and I'm like, is this the Computer Security Group? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, oh, sorry, I'm late. The site had the wrong room. And then one of them was like, that's why we don't allow girls. And I was like, I laughed. We all laughed. I thought it was funny because, like, obviously it's a huge room full of dudes, and so it's like addressing the elephant in the room or whatever. So then I come in and it's like crowded, so I'm like scooching past, but then no one like talks to me. Nobody like makes eye contact
Right,
or
right.
anything like that. So I'm just like sitting in the back, and they're in week 2 of a 3-week series on reversing. So I'm just like, those are definitely some letters on the screen that appear to have some sort of meaning for.
That happens every
some
time I look at
people.
anything had to do with reversing.
Yeah. It was definitely not the easiest one to jump in on, but I kept going because I'm stubborn. And what I figured out after a couple weeks is that even though like they wouldn't start conversations with me, if I started going up to the guys and being like, "Hey, what you working on?" they would be like very happy to show me.
Right.
So
a lot of them aren't outgoing enough to make the first attempt.
Yeah, there's that, and there's also like some of them are just so focused in on what they're doing that it doesn't even occur to them. So I did that. I worked on getting more people into that computer security group and making that one more accessible, and that's when I found out about PPP, the number 1 hacking team or whatever. So I was like, might be cool to go to that school one day. So it's the sort of thing where, like, because it was not easy for me, but I felt like it was very rewarding, I have a lot of insight into what could make it more accessible for other people.
Bridge those gaps so they don't have to
Yeah.
jump through the same hoops or get discouraged right away.
Or even just understand that it is frustrating and, like, that's fine.
Yep.
That's a big challenge, I feel like. Because it is very frustrating.
And I think CTFs, I mean, personally anyways, I've learned more doing CTFs, coming to conferences or doing them, with other groups in my area. I've learned more doing that than I ever did in college.
Absolutely. I felt that same way in undergrad. I felt like the stuff that I got the most out of was stuff that I went and found on my own. And I try to really encourage people to do that because, some people ask me, like, what classes would you recommend to people that want to go to CTFs? And I'm like, I don't know, just, like, go find a CTF team.
And do it, yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean,
sit down and...
Yeah, I mean, a computer science degree is a good, like, baseline in a lot of cases. So, just following that curriculum as you're doing it. But, like, that's not the only degree that works. And it's just kind of, well, a lot of times school is also what you put into it is what you get out of it.
Right.
So, it's important to get involved with that sort of thing. Maybe more school programs will start integrating stuff like this, which I feel like would be
very nice.
Good.
Yes, definitely. I think it's definitely needed.
Yeah, for sure.
So this is your first ShmooCon, right?
Yes.
What'd you think?
It's awesome. I really like I like the size. It's it's obviously not huge and overwhelming like DEF CON. But it's also like still a decent sized con, and you're like seeing people you've never seen before and stuff like that. I liked the different tracks, and I mean it's just really great to meet people and make the contacts and stuff like that. It's,
like us, we met in the bar.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, it's like, I mean, people laugh when I say, like, now the parties are the important things for the cons, and I'm like, no, seriously, like, I'm not just, like, Jägermeister, like,
right,
just drink sort of thing. It's like, no, that's where you actually can talk to these insanely brilliant people, and you're just talking and figuring stuff out. It's
super great ideas and connections and everything always happen.
And it was fantastic too. So I got the Schmooze Student Scholarship, and so I also got to meet a few people that the schmoozers
right.
Of the event, and so that's always really really great to be put in touch with people that are specifically looking at students.
right, definitely.
Yeah, so that was an excellent additional opportunity.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Do you want to tell everybody how they can get a hold of you?
Sure. So my website's securitycandy.com. I'm also on Facebook and Twitter at securitycandy. And I've got my contact info there. I'm happy to talk about CTFs, cybersecurity education, and all that stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
This is fun.